Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L coming in to talk about the My Hero Academia spoilers for chapter 313. We're going to be using the summary that Asushi on Twitter provided. So just keep that in mind. If you want to check out the spoilers that he provided, you can check it on the link down below. But otherwise, we're getting right into it. I'm going to do this quickly. So, I gotta start out by saying, man, I hate I hate this recent run of chapters. I'm just so wrong in so many places. Well, it's not really big things, but my pride, right? My pride. Just even thinking about last night on live stream and just thinking about what I was thinking was going to happen and what someone else had mentioned. It was just, oh man, so close, so close. But for this chapter 313, I think what we're seeing here is pretty interesting. There's a lot of things coming out. One of my hopes was that maybe we would see second user's quirk, but that's not what we're getting. But we are getting someone else's quirk, and really there's only one other person that there could be, so spoiler. But yeah, let's just get right into the information here. So if you were on the live stream, you know my initial idea was we would start the chapter off with Hawks' group, because Hawks' group I thought could give more context. What the author did, while not focusing on Hawks, did follow like the idea, that being that there would be some kind of update on another person. So what we got in the first part is All Might's car is all right. He says that if it was a regular car, he would be dead by now. That's not surprising. Did you see that car? So that's really good. He then says he understands this is a planned attack to separate him from Izuku. Two random villains try to attack the car. All Might jumps from it, and his presence makes the guys shiver. So, not gonna lie, this first little bit, that's kinda weird. I mean, if I'm a hardcore villain and Skeleton All Might jumps out of a car, I am not gonna think, wow, I'm scared of this guy. I mean, yeah, if the force of his personality, I understand like the possible intention here, but I'd be like, yo, my cred's gonna jump if I shank All Might right now. So that's a little bit strange. That's definitely gonna be something I want to see in the manga. Now, from the way it sounds like the grenade was thrown by these two random villains. It sounds like Nagant hired them to do it. Now, with me and Nagant, see, I'm so scared of assuming someone isn't powerful. So I assume the grenade was Nagant's doing. But if this is her doing properly, her hiring villains, I think that's also I think that's better. But I don't know. It's possible the actual art might still be kind of weird here. But good to know All Might's alright. Anyway, All Might does what he does best and delivers a speech about Izuku is going through so much right now and that he won't let anything bad happen to him. The thugs run away. Right, that's the questionable part. Where does she get these people from? Izuku is jumping from building to building, going after Lady Nagant. He concludes he's faster than her and will soon reach her, but Danger Sense activates and a bullet comes from behind him. He defends it with a kick. That's fine. Nothing really amazing there. But another shot comes immediately after and hits Izuku in his stomach. He's confused why the bullets come from opposite directions, but then he sees her at a distance and understands All for One gave her airwalk. Okay. I'm not sure. Oh, wait, here we go. He says the first shot was a curved one, but since he's getting closer, she was able to shoot directly, and Danger Sense didn't have time to react to it. So now it looks like we're getting stipulations about Danger Sense. I'm going to be really careful with this, just because last time the spoiler source said Danger Sense didn't help Izuku, and it's like Danger Sense helped Izuku catch that bullet. So I'm not sure about this. Danger Sense didn't have time to react to it. Because Danger Sense, you know, it's weird because Danger Sense has shown it can react to things ahead of time, and when you're reacting to some instances of Danger Sense look way too early, and if a bullet's been shot, you know what? It's tough. It's tough. Like if you can react to a curved bullet when it's only a few feet away from him, I feel like it should be able to react to someone's intention of shooting a bullet. It was able to react to Higanto-Makia's intention of breaking through cables. So that it's really weird. Danger Sense is going to be really weird because it's a really tough quirk to actually make work in a story. We're gonna have to see. I'm wondering if Danger Sense did it activate, or if Izuku didn't have time to react to Danger Sense's activation. That's what I'm really wondering. Okay, Izuku releases a smokescreen at its full power. Lady Nagant is confused by the fact he holds multiple quirks. So this is a pretty big line. First, good to know Smokescreen is working in a rainstorm. Second, Lady Nagant is confused by the fact he holds multiple quirks. this is a lot because this says either All for One doesn't know that he has multiple quirks at his disposal, like he hasn't clued in on that, or Nagant is saying, or it's possible Nagant was not told about the quirks. I'm not sure. One of those options, not telling her about the quirks, is very not the smartest move. And then if he doesn't know about the quirks, then I'm really excited to see how everyone that said that All for One is the biggest genius of all time, I'm really excited to see how they interpret that. But right now, should we assume that All for One would be surprised by the multiple quirks, or should we assume that All for One withheld information? I don't know. I'm gonna think about that. Maybe talk about that on live stream. And scolds Izuku, saying that he's being reckless, and Lady Nagant will immediately spot him when he comes out. But Izuku says he just wants some time to prepare. That's cool. The third One for All user appears and says it's too soon to do what he planned to do because Izuku hasn't started training the third quirk yet. Izuku says he's already too late. So good. That's the setup that we're getting that third quirk. Deku says that defeating her is the first step to finding Shigaraki in All for One's hideout, so he has to do everything he can. Now, about that, I'm not sure if All for One and Shigaraki are hiding in the same place. He activates the third user's quirk. It's called Hakai, and it's Hake, and it's a martial arts term that means release internal power or force exert. So that's interesting. Release internal power. I haven't Googled that term yet. And I don't think I'll have enough time to do it. Maybe at the end of the video I will, but release internal power and force exert, and it's a martial arts term. And the guy, third user, does look a little bit martial artsy. This to me, like he looks like he's a fighter kind of thing. This to me seems like it might be an aura power. Because release internal power, there's not many things in martial arts that coincides with internal power without looking at that definition. And force, an aura can be a bit of a force. It's kind of like the Dragon Ball Z aura. So that's what I'm kind of thinking right now. It's releasing an aura. And I mean, Izuku has lightning already, so maybe it's an extension of that. Anyway, Lady Nagant notices something coming on. When I say extension, I mean like maybe the lightning is a byproduct of this capability somehow. Lady Nagant notices something coming out of the smoke and shoots it. You know what? The lightning's always just throwing me off. Ignore what I'm saying. Anyway, back to Nagant. Lady Nagant sometimes notices something coming out of the smoke and shoots it. It was Gran Torino's cape that Izuku used as a decoy. I love decoy moves. Izuku continues throwing things to distract Lady Nagant, like his mask and his backpack. She says it's pointless if he'll just continue to hide in the smoke. But that's not his plan at all. Izuku used the smoke to get inside a building and then jump all the way up, destroying the rooftop, catching Lady Nagant by the arm. End of chapter. Now, oh, I found another summary here. Let's see. I'm just gonna give a quick read. Is there anything different? Oh, there's another stipulation. He realized she could fire faster and closer distance, and if she started shooting rapid fire, the force quirk wouldn't warn him in time. So Izuku activated the sixth quirk to buy. Okay, so I see what he's saying. Like, it's not the first quirk wouldn't warn him in time. I think it's more like Izuku won't be able to react to danger sense because of the rapid fire nature. But we'll have to see the proper chapter. For All Might, because that's another unclear part. All Might's car rides through the explosions unscathed. The car is named Hercules, and All Might says that if it was a regular car, he would be dead by now. Thugs appear from nowhere and try to attack it with explosive spears. All Might immediately understands there's a mastermind behind it, and they're trying to separate. He takes his cell phone and a suitcase with him and jumps out of the car. Thugs are ready to go get him, but All Might starts talking about Izuku is carrying a bird bigger than his phone. He says that the moment something happens to that kid is also the moment when he dies, to which the villains shiver into their bones and run away. I don't know, that makes him sound even lamer. Okay, so if you see any differences in the background, it's because I came back into the recording, but I'm just reading this a little bit more. And I guess the only other little detail that's coming out here is specifically a spot where Izuku takes a stance to use the third quirk. So I guess the stance, it's interesting because from the pictures that are out right now, looking at the moment when Izuku actually goes up there and catches Nagant, because it does look pretty good. It's hard to say what exactly that Hake is doing for Izuku. You can't really see anything different than usual. But if he got into the stance to use that quirk, just looking at the image just makes it kind of hard to tell. If anything, actually, you know what? one of the designs around Izuku are a little bit different than usual. So Izuku has his regular lightning effects, the green lightning that One for All usually has, but then around his leg, there's something else drawn around him in thicker lines. So that might be the third user's quirk, but if it's something called force exertion, I'm not too sure. Like it depends on that. It really depends on that translation of what that thing is. I might have to look up that definition. Actually, might be the time to look it up right now. So let's look at the Oh, this is gonna be funny. I'm on some wiki, some tough wiki. Don't know what this is. A hake in this tough wiki. I assume this is for another anime or something like that. Yeah, no, this is a manga series. Okay. In this other manga series, hake, which is translated as explosive raw power, in that series it allows the fighter to use their energy in an explosive manner. Oh, you know what? I've seen this kind of thing before. It's in Street Fighter as well. Okay, I found like a real life hake explanation, and hake literally means release of power, can generate power with minimal external body motion. You know, just reading this sounds more like it's one of those it reminds me of Rurouni Kenshin. There was one character that I think could punch something and then make like a bigger effect from it. That seems to be what we're going with here. Before we can use we need to accumulate pressure in the hara. This is created by using the muscles. Okay, yeah, no, from what I'm reading here and using my extensive knowledge of anime, in other words, a knowledge that I really don't need to have, it pretty much sounds like, if we're looking at just the definition of this word, it sounds like it's that gimmick where, you know, you do like a simple punch and then like there's a massive explosion afterward. Like, you know, you maybe poke a rock and all of a sudden the rock splits into many pieces. You know what? Did Kimetsu no Yaiba also have that mechanism later on when the people were training? I don't remember if they did. But the general, I think that's the general idea. It's the idea of lightly punching a boulder and the boulder shatters. I think that's what he's going with here. Which makes it really interesting in terms of what does that do when you have someone with superhuman strength? Because the point of that technique in other anime would usually be to multiply for relatively little force. If and I'm being very careful saying multiply, because if it's a multiplier, that's insane. Because it's so odd. If it's the mechanism that other anime have used, and specifically it's a mechanism that creates more force for less movement, Izuku, by that logic, for instance, just let's assume it's a 2 times multiplier, even though in other anime it's never a 2 times multiplier. If it's a 2 times multiplier, that means that 50% punch, if Izuku uses that quirk in conjunction with it, would create a 100% punch. And if you use a 100% punch, it would convert into a 200% punch. But yeah, if this is the actual quirk, if the third user is actually one of these guys from a martial arts manga, where they learn how to punch something so softly that it produces a disproportionate effect, then this sounds really aggressive. Like, Izuku at this point could just be lightly tapping people and destroying their inner organs with this kind of thing. And looking at it on the website, this looks to be what I think it is. And the fact that we went to another anime, and that other manga is also talking about the explosive power mechanism. Yeah, I think I think that's probably what this is. Now, the only thing to really parse is the fact that the effects around Izuku's body are being drawn slightly differently. Funnily enough, I think all the information is out now, or like a lot more information is out. So I'm just going through and looking very quickly at the spoiler images. Izuku looks pretty bad. So for anyone wondering where to find the spoiler images, I would recommend going to Manga Helpers and just looking at the My Hero Academia forum. Oh, Nagant has a pretty good shot here. So it looks like at one point here, She looks adorable. She did something where she uses the recoil from her gun to boost her. That's smart. I was really hoping she was going to do that, so that's pretty cool. Looks like there's a good chunk of dialogue here happening in a few places. There's no skirt jokes, unfortunately. And when he's complained to Izuku, looks like he's going to be really yelling at Izuku. We get a really good shot of third user here as well. He looks pretty legit. Oh, and I see the pose that Izuku took here to use it. Yeah, there's something weird happening here. So, Izuku takes a pose where his arm is... he's holding onto the ground, he's holding onto his shoulder with the other arm, and from his knees, a strange energy is coming out, or a strange effect is coming out, and that's also with the lightning around him. Yeah, that's got to be some kind of weird, like, it's force exertion. It's just, if it's a multiplier on top of one for all, that's insane. But because of the nature of the idea that it's doing disproportionate action for a big effect, that probably means if that's what it is, Izuku's going to be able to use extreme power without actually hurting his body, because control of the force is the point of that kind of power in anime. Also, I've been wondering about what exactly is going on with Nagant and her scope. Turns out she has a scope. Her sniper rifle gives her a scope. So who would have thought? Also, Izuku's smokescreen is giant. It's taking up... The smokescreen is eating up about 1, 2, maybe 4 blocks. That's ridiculous. Okay, and then in regards to the shot about Izuku shooting up through the building, I'm looking at it right now, and the speed with which it happened, I actually am not sure that that is possible with regular one-for-all power output, because it looks like Izuku just shot through that. Yeah, I think I can see why super speed ends up being a thing here. He's focusing it on his legs. I think it probably goes in more places than just his legs here. But if it's a multiplier, it explains how Izuku was able to shoot through that building without losing any kind of speed. Man, I'm looking also at the people that attacked All Might. They're so lame. They're so lame. Yeah, you're telling me these guys are supposed to be Tartarus people? They look so lame. Like, yo, man, if an almost dead man was yelling at me, telling me I'm gonna do my best for this kid, I wouldn't be scared of him. I'd just skewer him right there. Man, Tartarus villains. Are they cool or are they lame? Lame. But yeah, okay. So overall, when it comes down to this stuff here, I'm really interested. But all things considered, it really does look like right now it's a multiplier. The third user's quirk is a multiplier. And right now, it looks like it's being focused into the legs, because that's where the effect is. But if it's really the Hake mechanism that we've seen in other anime, like that gimmick of disproportionate force for relatively small action, then yeah, Izuku just became ridiculously he became much stronger for maybe minimal pushback. I think if there's going to be a weakness with this quirk right now, just seeing the way that Izuku grabbed onto Nagant, I think it's going to be that Izuku's going to have to try and figure out how to control the power output. Oh, more translations keep coming out. Another person is saying that the whole power release thing might not actually be the name of the quirk, but it's still referring to like the idea that the user releases internal energy explosively. But yeah, we'll have to see here. Nagant's been caught by Izuku, but we'll have to see how much further this can go. Overall, I'm actually very interested in looking at the full chapter. But hey, it's also good that the third user's quirk is something that we've never seen before, and it's a martial arts quirk. It pretty much feels like the third user is a person who made martial arts... the martial art fantasy reality kind of thing. Although I'm not sure how martial artists would feel knowing that their techniques or whatever are, like in the world, their techniques are something relegated to only quirks. But we'll have to see what exactly is going on. But there are unique effects here. Anyway, that is the spoilers for this one. Thanks for sticking with me as I tried to figure that out. It's just like the images are interesting. I would recommend checking them out. They are on Manga Helpers. So keep that in mind. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.